post. Yeah, it is the planning board one. Don't let me in, I'll just follow you.
Well, everybody comes in.
Right.
If Lucinda's coming, it's
Yeah.
that's ready.
So it was posted as a planning, not zoning, but that's no big deal. It's just the link.
It's just a.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The link was posted for planning, not zoning, no big deal.
Okay, so I can see you, Ray, and I can see you, Susan. We just had a snap in here with the link. The correct one went out, but I thought they were the same for both, so,
You all set?
yes, I'm all set.
So, what time is it?
Hey, before you start, JB is working downstairs, so we're gonna let him go first. If you don't.
Yeah, I got that. We're gonna jump the beat. It's 6:05. I'd like to open the meeting, please. Do we have any excused absences, Carol?
Yes, we have, Mark Ehrman is unable to attend today. And it looks like, Ray, Susan, and Miles are all attending, by Zoom.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Miles, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Carol.
Thanks.
Okay, consideration is meeting minutes from August 17th.
I'll make a motion to nominate John Ham as the acting chairperson.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
It looks like you're in favor too, Miles? To appoint John as,
Yes,
okay,
Thank you, Jack. Back to the minutes from August 17th. Is there any corrections, additions, subtractions?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the ZBA as of August 17, 2022 as distributed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So we're gonna jump to the B on our plan today, JJB view, so we can get back to work, I guess.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I'm recusing myself
Okay,
because both, Tammy and I sit on the board of
Yep.
selectmen.
okay,
And Mr. Beagle is a town employee, and I have been told by council on the advice of council, he will recuse.
okay, thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Bijou, do you present what you'd like to do? Oh, come up and sit here
All right.
and tell us what your plan is.
Sure. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I'm unfamiliar with this process, so do you just want to hear my plan? Is that basically how this goes?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I built a garage and had building approval for a garage with an empty space on the second floor. It was always my intent to turn that second floor space into an apartment eventually. I worked with Carol and she told me I had to come here and ask for a special exemption for and correct me if I'm wrong, a detached apartment in the rural residential district. Is that correct? So I submitted the paperwork and I'm here to ask you for that special exemption.
Okay.
So I have, again, I apologize, none of my paperwork is professional. That stuff is expensive. So I hope you're okay with what I presented, which is just a hand sketch of the apartment as I have it planned out. And there was a question to be answered about ample parking. So I answered that question with an aerial photo. I hope that suffices. And beyond that, what else would you like to know? The apartment is for my mother-in-law. That's the original plan. She's foreign, she comes to visit. My kids are getting older, I'm out of room in the house, so. My late wife and I always planned on building this apartment for her above the garage, so that's where this all comes from. If that's relevant.
Has the water tap fees and sewer fees been applied for?
Well, no, he'll do that after.
After, okay.
He has to have Permission,
He needs permission to do.
special exception, to allow him to have the detached apartment in the rural residential. Once he does that, then he'll make an application for a land use permit, which is kind of like a building permit. And then the water and sewer tap fees will be owed as part of that application.
Any questions, Ray or Miles? Susan? No?
Miles muted.
I think Mr. Devonta is saying something else.
That's
So the
okay.
issue is just it's just a little bit larger than what they're supposed to be, or
No, it's not allowed, in the rural
um,
residential without a special exception. It is, but it's not just allowed, me as the planner issuing a permit, I can't just issue a permit. It's up to the ZBA to review the criteria for a special exception, which is in that application that you
Okay.
have. So starting on page 2, I don't know if you want me to read those or read those out loud so that the audience can hear it too. Sure. Did I get you to sign in? I don't think you did. I think you're relatives of them.
Yeah.
Okay. These are JJ's relatives, so that are in the audience.
Yeah, so they're my neighbors.
They're here for tonight.
Well, anyway,
Neighbors.
I mean, yeah, we're probably related somewhere.
okay, so criteria 1, the site is suitable for the proposed use, structure, or development, and the specific site is an appropriate location for the proposed use, structure, or development. This includes adequate usable space, adequate access, absence of environmental constraints within the proposed development or project area. And this is what JJ criteria.
Would
So
you like
he
me to
wrote-
read that part?
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Yes, we'll take it.
So my response to that is simply the site was approved for a 2-car garage with storage space above. Proper water, sewer, and electrical connections are already in place. All setbacks are adhered to, and this exemption will not alter that. This property is not part of an association. This project will not change the exterior appearance or footprint of the existing structure. And the purpose of this project is to create an apartment for my mother-in-law with rental potential when she's not using it.
Okay, so that's criteria 1. Should I just continue criteria 2?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Fran.
so criteria 2, the proposed use, structure, or development is appropriate to the site. Consideration shall include parking scheme, traffic circulation, open space, fencing, screening, landscaping, and lighting impact.
And so my response to that was the parking scheme will not change with parking in the garage and in front of the garage and to the side of the garage adjacent to the house. Traffic will not increase significantly with the proposed apartment space suitable for 2 to 4 people. There will be no additional landscaping, fencing, or exterior lighting needs beyond what is already needed for the existing structure.
Criteria number 3. The proposed use, structure, or development will not have a negative impact on the immediate neighborhood. The proposed use, structure, or development is architecturally compatible with the surrounding residential district. The proposed use, structure, or development will not disturb the tranquility of the district. The proposed use, structure, or development will not be incompatible with or undesirable in relation to existing uses in the area. The proposed use, structure, or development will not be detrimental, injurious, obnoxious, or offensive to abutting properties in particular, and to the neighborhood in general. Typical negative impacts which extend beyond the proposed site include noise or vibration, dust, glare or heat, smoke, fumes, gas, or odors, and decrease in valuation. Lighting and noise level of the proposed use, structure, or development will be of such design as to not disturb the tranquility of the district.
And my response to that is the proposed apartment will not change the architecture of the existing structure. The capacity of the apartment will be for 2 to 4 people, therefore not impacting the tranquility of the area. The residential nature of the apartment will not be incompatible with the current residential setting of the neighborhood, nor will it have a negative impact on the neighborhood whatsoever.
Okay, criteria. Traffic access to and from the proposed use, structure, or development will not alter the character of the district. There will be no excessive trip generation as defined by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, trip generation manual 10th edition, or a successor set of guidelines. There will be no undue nuisance or serious hazard or vehicular traffic, including the location and design of access ways or off-street parking. Proposed use, structure, or development will be well suited to the availability of public services and facilities. The following services and facilities are available and adequate to serve the needs of the proposed use, structure, or development as designed and proposed: fire protection, streets, parks, and schools. The proposed use, structure, or development is appropriate to the site. The proposed use will not be incompatible with or undesirable in relation to existing uses in the area.
And my written response to that was traffic impact will be negligible. My mother-in-law does not have her own car. And any rental occupancy will be limited to 2 to 4 people, so vehicle impact will be no more than 2 cars in that case.
Okay, criteria 5. The proposed use, structure, or development will be well suited to the availability of public services and facilities. And the following services and facilities are available and adequate to serve the needs of the proposed use, structure, or development as designed and proposed for fire protection, streets, parks, and schools.
And I responded there, fire protection services should not be impacted. The driveway is privately maintained, so should have no impact on street services. And my mother-in-law does not have any school-aged children, so there should be no impact on the school system.
And criteria is the proposed use, structure, or development is appropriate to the site. And that's literally the same as criteria number 1 above, so I don't think we need to repeat that. Okay, so does anybody?
Any questions from any of the board?
Are you looking for public input at this point?
That'll be
Not
my
yet.
next thing, yes.
That'll be the next thing, yeah.
Yep.
But do you have anything you want to ask before we open it to the public?
What kind of rentals are you thinking?
Susan, I hadn't thought that far ahead, to be honest. Ideally, it would be someone looking to work in the area, maybe a loon winter employee, someone, you know, not permanent, but you know, not weekenders either. Ideally, but again, I haven't made any strong decisions either way. It is primarily for my mother.
Motion to open it up to public participation.
I will make a motion to open it up.
We have a second.
Guys, second, can somebody second on the Zoom?
Sure.
Susan, second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Is there any public participation in this matter?
Yeah, this is the neighbor, Jay Bartlett.
Hi, Jay.
How we doing, JJ?
Good.
First off, I just want to say I'm not opposed to this at all. And, but I just want to know what the ruling is, because I'm in the same kind of situation across the street. I had a barn that we got rid of our horses and everything. And the kids camp out in it. I don't want to rent it or do anything or have a in-law apartment, but I did want to put a toilet in it. And I went to the zoning board quite a while back, bunch of years back. And they said the law read that they said you could call it an in-law apartment, but it had to be attached to the house. So my question was, and he said, then it would probably go, but being separate, it couldn't go. I just want to know what the rule is. I'm not familiar with the zoning rule. Why he can't just have an apartment above that garage. What rule is keeping him from that?
Okay, in the zoning ordinance, can I answer that?
Yeah. Did you hear
In
Kevin
the
say?
zoning ordinance, I'm the planner. In the zoning ordinance, it says that in the rural residential district, you can have an attached accessory apartment. And that would mean that if JJ's garage had been attached to his house, he could have asked me for a land use authorization permit to put the apartment in there, and as long as it was less than 1,000 square feet, I could give him a permit for that. However, because it's detached and in the ordinance under the dimensional chart, I think it's on page 31 of the zoning ordinance. It's around page 31. It's called the dimensional chart. And under the dimensional chart, oh, wait a minute, not under the dimensional chart. It's in the, I have to get my book. Hold on a minute.
Sit there, Caroline, I'll watch and see if anything like that.
Okay. Okay, it's under the land use schedule and it's on page 29. Under the land use, under rural residential, which shows up on the chart as a capital R, capital R. And it says for a detached accessory apartment, it needs a special exception from the ZBA. If it were attached, which is the row above that, attached accessory apartment is allowed. There's a Y for yes. And so that's what somebody told you, was that, you know, if it was attached, it would be a yes. So the planner or whoever was issuing permits for you at the time could have given you a permit for an apartment for that attached building, but not for a detached. That would have to go to the ZBA, and that's why JJ had to come here.
Yeah, I guess I misunderstood it, because they had told me even if I attached it, I had to get a waiver. I had to go for a variance. And they told me there was no way a detached one could make it. So.
It could be a change too. There were a lot of
Yeah,
changes.
that's what I'm saying. I don't keep up with it like you folks. So I'm just curious, because, but I'm all for JJ's. Having the apartment, this place looks very good. It's very nicely done. There's lots of parking.
Thank
Everything
you,
looks
Jay.
really sweet, and it's really good access. I mean, fire, police, everything. So, okay, that was the only question I had. Thank you.
Public comment.
Somebody want to second the motion to close the public comment, please?
Second,
Okay, Miles, all those in favor of closing public comment? Aye,
aye,
Staying. Okay, closed.
I would make a motion that we approve the special exception as written. For all.
second,
Second it, Ray. Demonte? Can we use,
Yeah, he's got his hand up.
yep, okay. All those in favor of
aye,
accepted, aye,
Aye.
opposed, abstained. The ayes have it.
You're all set.
That's what I do, a decision and
And then I
just
can do the
apply
vote.
for, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, JJ.
Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Good job.
And thanks for letting me go first.
Ray wants to say something.
Oh, Ray, I'm sorry, Ray.
Unmute yourself, Ray.
Hold on one second, JJ,
Yep.
Ray has a comment.
Ray, you're muted. Ray.
You need to unmute, Ray. Ray, you're muted. Unmute.
Touch your keyboard.
Who are you calling?
Ray.
Who's Ray?
Ray Demont.
Okay, the board member.
He's listed as Cinda, but
Oh, he's listening to Cinda. Okay.
He's talking away with the microphone muted.
Yeah.
He
Looking,
doesn't know how to do it.
See if Cinda can help you.
Use your mouse and click on the picture of the microphone. Or if you're on an iPad, just touch it.
Hey, is
There
that,
you go.
is that
Woo-hoo.
better? Is that
There.
better?
There you are, yay.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Sir.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, thank you. I just wanted to make a couple comments. Although it's already been voted on and I'm totally in favor of it. Excellent site, well done. Everything's within the setbacks. And although the plan shows 4 yellow cars, the yellow car color is not required by our favorable vote.
Mr. Demonte, I feel the need to address that. Yellow is my favorite color, so if I had my choice, they would all be yellow cars.
I want to get a call when you do that because I want to take a picture.
Okay, don't hold your breath.
Very good job.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Hey, hold on.
Now we'll go back to A.
I have a question.
Excuse yourself.
Excuse myself. Ray, are you stepping in as the chair? Who's in this?
Yeah, Susan had a question. Do you want a question?
Go ahead, Susan.
I'm sorry.
There was a question from me, on if I should recuse myself because of the thing with Joe.
Oh, God, no. I don't think so.
Fine.
All right,
I think you could be fair and impartial. I believe that anyway.
Who's that?
all right.
No, I'm fine with that.
All right, so I'll,
so does that mean we don't have a quorum?
You
well,
still,
Jack can come back, right? Where's Jack?
No, because he's.
Oh, you can't.
he can't, but you still have a quorum because you had a physical quorum to open the meeting.
Yeah.
And you still have a quorum present once that meeting was opened, even though 3 of them are online.
That-
It still counts as a quorum, but we've had to do it.
Well, we have 3, correct?
You have
We have-
4.
In-house right now, you have 1.
You know, if John leaves, because John is somehow married to the applicant.
Yeah.
Like for 30-something years.
Oh, no, I understand John's situation. I
Yeah,
understand.
But Jack is not here anymore.
Yeah, and I understand Jack's situation, but other than that, there's 4 of us. Is that
4
correct?
of us.
Still a quorum, correct.
Correct, you're 4 of you, but 3 of
Okay.
you.
'Cause-
I was proud.
It's okay, you still, as long as you open the meeting with a quorum, you can continue.
yes, I
Yeah.
think it's correct.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so Tammy is here and are you ready to take the chair reins back, Ray?
Oh, you want me to be the chair?
Yeah, you're gonna have to be the chair, I think.
Okay, I will be the chair. Thank you.
Unless Delia, you wanna make Delia?
But Delia's saying no, thank you.
Delia's shaking her head, no.
Okay. Well, I would ask applicant to make the presentation.
Okay, I have a house on 13 Pleasant Street that I recently renovated. Well, I mean, it took a lot longer than I had hoped because COVID reared its ugly head. And I'm still waiting on siding, but someday hopefully will come in. It's very beautiful on the inside, very ugly on the outside right now. It currently has a tarp, one of those tarp, they call it garages. that, and I was looking through the old tax cards, which I have a bunch of them, and on or around 2012, and or might know better, the previous owner took down the original stick-built garage because it was dilapidated. There was also a smaller shed on the property that I don't remember it, but it was on old tax cards. That's no longer there, obviously. I want to replace the carpet garage that is in the same spot that the old garage is according to the tax cards, etc. With a stick-built one that I can actually lock the door so the kids' bicycles don't get stolen. So I can, put a couple of cars in there and a lawnmower and the snow blower and be able to lock the door and know that it's not gonna get stolen. In the exact same spot, right now it's 12 by 24, I believe. I have that's right in front of me. I want to go 2 feet wider towards the house, towards my house. And the reason I want to do that and make it 14 by 24 is because then I can get my husband's 57 Chevy wagon and my Mini Cooper convertible in it side by side for the winter and still have room to put a snow blower and a lawnmower and a kid's bicycle in there. If it's not 2 feet wider, I can't fit both cars in, which I'll deal with. It's kind of a bummer though. So
And that, I just confirmed that extra 2 feet is towards your house.
correct. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the middle towards the house. It's gonna be a single story peaked roof, regular plain old, nothing fancy garage. No heat, I will have electricity in there so I can have a light and probably a garage door opener. But no heat, no water, no bathrooms, no nothing. Just a single story garage with a roof on it.
Well, the other thing is that the pad is still there.
It is,
Okay,
it's,
that's all.
I don't believe there was ever a cement pad down. I remember when Ruth and Charlie Burbank owned the house, and we're talking 30 years ago, when we first bought the other house next door. I also own 15 Pleasant Street, which is on the north side of the house.
You still on that?
Yes,
Well,
Where that little
John's
shed is?
saying though,
it's
The
currently,
Sure.
yes, that's the garage of the house I own, that's the garage, yeah, it'll be beside my deck.
How much space is in between? Your
There
house
was a
and that?
survey that was
I think
done.
I put it in there, it's about 7.5, doesn't it have?
Between the house and from the
Very far.
proposed garage and the existing garage that's there towards the neighbor is 4 feet. And it's Pleasant Street, it's the old mill houses, they're all kind of tight in there. On the other side of the house to the property line on the other side is 4 feet 2 inches. So it's, and I'll tell you that the house I own, 15 Pleasant Street, on the property line to that one is 3 feet 8 inches. The surveyor told me, so they're all, pretty tight in there and close. It's just exactly, yep, yes, yeah. So they're all, in there. Fortunately, the neighbors all get along pretty well. We all do okay on the street, so. The other thing I want to do on the back of the house is a 10 by 20 deck. On this deck, 10 feet of it that comes out is gonna be 4 feet 2 inches from the other house, the other property line, the house I own. On that deck is going to be my AC condenser for the air conditioning unit for the house. The heat is all in, the AC is not in because I didn't have something to put it on. The way the roof is pitched, I have to put it to the back of the house or the snow will ruin it when it comes off the roof on either side. So I'm kind of limited where I put that. I can't put it in the front because I'm less than 15 feet from the road, so it can't go in the front, but it has to go to the back of the house. So on that deck is also gonna go the AC condenser. And it's an open air with a railing deck, nothing closed in, It's not gonna be anything fancy, just a wood, regular old plain old deck. That's what I'd like to do.
Thank you. Do any members of the board have any questions?
No.
Not hearing any questions, I would like to open, I would ask if there's any members of the public that would have any comments. There's nobody there?
There was neighbors are here, but they didn't have any questions. They were good.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any other questions regarding this application?
No.
Not hearing any questions, I would take a motion to close the public hearing. Public comment. Would somebody make that motion?
Yeah, Delia.
I'll make that motion. to
Thank
close
you.
the
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. The ayes have it. The public comment period is complete. No one spoke in opposition. I would ask if the board has any comments. The members of the board.
All right, and if I could just say, she has submitted the applications for the variance. And so I don't know if you want to read those or you want to read those silently or whatever, but she also included several excellent photographs with the measurements, so you can see what's there and how close things are.
And I consider all of those, of course, part of our record as submitted. And I didn't have any questions about them. If any member has a question, let me know. Not hearing any questions, I do have a comment or two. You know, I think in our country, our communities, especially our inner city communities, were developed long before zoning was a thought. And so this is not an issue that is unique to Lincoln. You name the city, in the inner part of the city, this question of things being built according to whatever was the regulations at the time, and now not being in compliance is a common occurrence. And the variance process I would submit is really suited for this exact purpose. When people need relief, and in this kind of situation, circumstance and history has put them in the position of needing that relief, we can consider this strongly under the zoning ordinance. Not having any public comment against it, I think that the zoning ordinance is in part designed to help improve these tighter, we'll call it the inner city or inner town areas of the community that have smaller lots. This is one of the purposes of being able to grant a variance. And to not have it would be to, frankly, make it impossible for people to properly improve their properties. Having said that, for the record, I would be in favor of granting the variances as needed and as requested. Would there be a second to that?
Do we have to go through the checklist?
I think we should probably go through the checklist.
The checklist, yes.
Okay, so the first, actually, I'm just gonna follow along in the, instead of doing the worksheet,
All
I'm
right.
just gonna follow along in the,
In the materials.
application materials. So facts in support of granting the variance. Granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because there's already a garage there. Back deck will be open and uncovered and will enhance the look of the neighborhood. And it's this will- so,
So the first condition is that it would not be contrary to the public
Right.
interest.
Mhm.
Does anybody have a motion?
Well, I think you're just gonna poll the board. Does everybody agree with that statement?
I agree.
And then at
Right.
the very
Poll the
end-
board.
Yeah,
I would say yes,
yes.
it's
and
not, con-
Yes,
Yeah,
interest.
everybody agrees, all four of you agree, so. Okay, so
Yes.
the second criteria is if the variance were granted, the spirit of the ordinance would be observed. Because there really is no way to improve or construct anything with these mill houses on Pleasant Street without being in the side setback area. And so the spirit of the ordinance would be observed, so you could poll the board, do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay,
Yep.
Delia agrees with that, and the rest of you, yes.
yes,
So, number 3 criteria, granting the variance would do substantial justice. Because it will allow the appellant to have a solid garage and to have a deck for family use and to house the AC unit. So granting the variance would do substantial justice, do you agree, polling the board?
I agree.
And Delia's nodding. I assume the rest of you
Yes.
are okay with that, yeah.
yes,
Yep.
Okay, if the variance were granted, 4th criteria, the variance were granted, the values of the surrounding property would not be diminished. The back deck will be on the side against the side of the neighbor's garage and not within the site of the home itself, the neighbor's home itself, so.
I would just comment to the contrary, not only would it not diminish the value of abutting properties, but it would probably enhance the value of abutting properties.
Okay, does everybody agree with that?
I
Agree.
Yep, Delia, Susan, yep, okay. So the unnecessary hardship criteria, which is sort of the last one. Owing to the special conditions of the property, that distinguish it from other properties in the area. Denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because there's no fair and substantial relationship that exists between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property. Because the AC unit needs to be on the back of the house due to the roof pitch and snowfall, and there's an existing garage already there, and it's expensive to maintain. The proposed use is a reasonable one because I need a safe, solid garage to park my car, house, lawnmower, snow blower, etc. The back deck is reasonable to house the AC unit and for family space. So is everybody on board with that? Delia's yes,
Yes,
rest of you, yes.
yes,
Or it says, for B. Well, I think you've already agreed on,
Yeah.
it, so you don't even have to go to B.
Mhm.
So I guess you, polling the board, it appears that all of the criteria have been met. And I guess somebody needs to move whether or not to grant both variances for both the garage and for the deck.
would somebody make that motion, please?
I will make a
I'll make-
motion that I accept the application for a variance and approve the variance for the deck and the garage.
Okay,
And
so-
Miles seconded the motion, correct?
second, correct,
All those in favor, please say aye and.
Aye.
And
aye,
All 4 of you, okay.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
And thank you for the improvement to Pleasant Street. It's very nice.
yes, and I think we're gonna probably have at least one more ZBA meeting before the end of the year. I have 99% of the application. So as soon as I get that missing 1%, I'll email you the notice as soon as I get it drafted and so that you can put it on your calendar. So thank you very much. Very good. You want to make a motion to adjourn then, or?
Somebody make a motion to,
Take that, John.
I make a motion to adjourn.
John said, made a motion.
second,
Aye.
favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed?
I don't think anybody has ever
Yeah.
opposed the motion to adjourn. but let's do this time.
And Miles, the next time,
Yes.
please palm tree behind you when we see your picture.
Hey, it's still daytime. You guys got it dark already. That's no good.
We got you got daylight. Thank you all.
Thank
Right,
you.
thank you.
Night.
Yeah, it's still like
Good night.
that.
I know, I was just watching that too, trying to
It's
figure out,
really bright.
where is he?
He's
I
in.
think he's on the island. I saw them.